Okay then, in this video we'll talk about inheritance. So let's first of all clarify what inheritance is. As you may guess, inheritance allows a class to inherit all the methods and properties from another class. And there are two terms I would like to clarify here. So the first one is parent class and the second one is child class. Parent class is the class being inherited from, and it's also called base class. And child class is the class that inherits from another class. So let's take a look at that parent class and child class with an example. So let's quickly create a class called person. So this will be our base class or parent class. And I would like to point out that any class can be a parent class. Okay, so let's create our init function because we will need to assign some parameters to variables. So we'll say self and then first name. So it's going to accept two parameters. So the first one is arguments, so first name and then last name. So let's assign those parameters to variables. So the first one will be self first name and it's going to be f name. So the second one is last name and it's equal to this. Now let's quickly create another function which prints out first name and last name. So we'll say print name. So self, and then in here we need to say print and then self, and we need to refer to our variables first name and the second one is last name, like this. So now we can create a person object. All right, so we can say for instance X, or let's give it a name, proper name, like John for instance here. So I'll say person and it's gonna be John, family name, I don't know who. So then let's say, so I can also add Doe to here like this. So now I can use print name in here. So if I say John Doe and then print name, it should print oops, I forgot parentheses in here. So it's print name. Person object has no attribute first name. Okay, first name. So we did a spelling mistake in here. So let's check now. So it's printing John Doe now. So I don't need this print actually because we are already printing it. So let's do that now. So John Doe, that's good. So now, what if you want to create a child class of this person? So let's say employee class. That means that employee class or child class will inherit all the properties and methods of this parent class. So let's create that employee class. So I will say in here class employee, and then in here in the parentheses you need to specify parent class, and in here we are in the parentheses we are specifying only one class. So that means we are only inheriting from this person class. So but you can also specify multiple classes in here. That means it's gonna my employee class will inherit all the properties and methods from all these classes. But in my case, I have only one, okay, which is person class. So now, for now, just say pass. That's it. Now I can use employee class to create employees. So for instance, I can say, like my name, like Ikram, and then I can say, employee like this, and then I can specify my first name and last name, and let's call that print function, print name actually, and it should print my first name and last name. And pay attention, we haven't specified any method in here. But as I said before, this employee class is inheriting all the properties and methods from the parent class, which is person class. Okay, so let's run. But before running, let me print. So let me comment out this print. And now let's do that. So you see, it's printing out my first name and last name. But you can also, for instance, access, these properties or variables in here. So I can say print and then Ikram and then first name, for instance. And it's gonna print my first name. You see, that's my first name. So that means it's inheriting all the properties and methods from the parent class. So now, what if you would like to add a init function to the child? Well, if you do that, it's going to override the inheritance of the parent's init function. So let me show that to you. So if I say in here, def, and then init, so I am right now in the employee class. So, and I am creating, let's do the same one, family name, first name, last name, and also let's add age, just to make it different from the parent class. So now, if I say self, then, like f equals first name, and then self l, it's gonna be last name, and then self. Of course, it's non-descriptive, so I can say something different, but I'm just trying to explain this one with a different naming, with the different namings. So let's write first n, and then here last n, and then in here just write age. Okay. So now what I can do is let's check this one whether it's gonna keep the inheritance from the parent or not. So if I do that, you see it says, I forgot semicolon in here. So if I do that, it says one required positional argument age. Oh, that's fine. So I'll say 30. Okay. So let's run it. Now it says employee object has no attribute first name because we are overwriting parents init function in here. So if you would like to keep the inheritance of the parents init function, you should add a call to the parents init function. So now the question is, how do you add a call to the parents init function? Well, it's very easy. So, and the way you do it is right after you write this def init, and then you specify your parameters, you need to call parents class like this, person in my case, and then you need to write init. So that means we are calling init function of the parent, and then you just need to specify in here arguments. So it's gonna be f name and then l name like this. Now, if I run this one, this should work without any problem. So let's check. You see, it's now working. But I can also, instead of, right now I'm accessing first name. That's a property of the parent class. But I can also access this one. That's why I just wanted to make, these variables different from parents one. So now let's check. You see, it's still printing this. That's good. So now I can add, functions to this child class. So for instance, let's add greetings with age. So that will include, so I will just make it camel case like this. So greetings with age, and then in here we'll specify print, and then we'll say hello, and then I can say here self first, this one first this, and then my second one, which is this, and then age, which is this. So it will print hello, first name, last name, and then age. Okay, so let's check this. So I'll say print, not print, just ikram, and then I'll call my function greetings with age like this. And now let's check it. So you see, it's now calling this greetings with age method, and it's printing out hello, my first name, last name, and age. So now there is also another way of doing this one. So in here we are calling parents init function, but you can also do the same one using super method. So I'll say super in here, and then you need parentheses, of course, and then here you need to specify init, and here again you need to specify first name and then last name like this. So if you call a super function to inherit methods and properties from its parent, you don't need to use the name of the parent. So in here, instead of person or instead of class name of the parent, I'm using super function. All right. So, and then you don't need self in the super one. So let's check. So everything should work. So let's check. You see, it's still printing this Ikram Nishambayev, which is this one. And then it's just printing my first name. That's from the child property. So this one. And then this method is in the child class as well. So that's all about inheritance. I think it was very easy to understand, and thank you, and I will see you in the next video.